ADAM Audio D3V. The small monitors, I have been using them for a few weeks now, and I have to tell you, they defy the laws of physics. Despite the very small form factor, they can actually generate quite deep bass, down to around 50 Hz, and the bass is quite fast and precise. At the same time, they're equipped with quite efficient tweeters, so they deliver quite flat sound, essential for serious work, and priced at just around $300, €300, they deliver quite serious bang for the buck, as you would say. They can be packed to the backpack, they can be connected via USB, they even have headphone output. It's a bit of a shame they do not offer Bluetooth, but actually you can hook up your smartphone to them. So let's start. As with many other small studio monitors, the power amplifiers and other electronic units, as well as the power socket, USB and input sockets are located in one monitor, while the converters, likely servicing some calibration circuitry, are located in the other monitor. So active monitor, this one, is connected with the passive one via a dedicated 2-meter cable. The signal can be fed to the monitors using balanced TRS cables or via USB. With the analog connection, the signal undergoes 24-bit conversion and digital equalization, ensuring a balanced frequency response for the monitors. With the USB connection, the output is converted with 16-bit precision at 32, 44.1 and 48 kHz. On the front, you'll find a push-button volume control and a headphone jack, and if you plug headphones here, this will cut off the monitor's audio, which is nice. And this button is actually a push button, so if you press it once, it will mute the audio. If you press it twice, you'll switch to the USB mode, and this light will now go blue. And if you press it 3 times, then I think it will switch between left and right channels, so I just realized it will be much more convenient for me to have this volume control under my right hand, so I will swap the monitors. And also, the monitors have this very annoying built-in auto shut-off system that shuts them off after about 20 minutes or so in activity, but fortunately this can be disabled with a firmware update. Well, to be honest, I acquired ADAM Audio monitors by accident because I was reviewing H200s from ADAM Audio, and they just sent me those monitors. By the way, they're very well balanced headphones, close back and great, very deep bass. So they actually quite well complement such small monitors like this. Anyway, I just got the monitors and I thought, well, I don't need them. I've got big monitors here. I will probably not use them, so why bother even unpacking them? I could sell them as new. And eventually I did unpack them, I put them here, and at first I was not using them at all. And then I was working on a mix, I had some problems in the low end. The kick seemed to work on my big monitors, but when I was switching to something smaller, I realized that something was wrong. And I put those monitors on, and I was amazed how exactly they pinpointed the problem. The kick was too loud, the spectrum was not right, and reference tracks actually sounded good on these. And then I started to use small ADAMs when editing videos, and I realized that they are very flat in the mid-range, and I could actually do some very precise dynamic EQ corrections on voiceovers with more precision than I could on my big monitors. So then I thought, these are very welcome and very valuable addition to my rig, and they're definitely staying. So this is the history. So in case you're wondering how come D3Vs have such a good bass, let me play one of my tracks for you. So this is the track. But I'm just going to play the subs for you now, okay? And when I turn up, you'll actually see the membrane moving here at very loud volumes. It may distort a little bit, but it's quite effective. So this is probably one of the very only ones that in the price range that use acoustic system based on passive membranes, and there are 2, on the one side here and on the other side here. And this, compared to bass reflex, this solution has several advantages. First, it's still, close enclosure, which means that there's less vibration and less harmonic distortion in the low frequencies, but also it doesn't cause the bass to drag. So the bass is actually quite fast. So this is a very cool solution here. Well, secondly, the monitors use D-ART drivers based on air motion transformers, and compared to standard dome tweeters, this kind of driver can produce 4 times the sound pressure at the same power. It has a rigid structure, so that means it has lower harmonic distortion. And I always found those monitors with this type of drivers to be quite bright and precise, but this, I would say, they're not too bright, they're not dark at any way. I guess you can just rely on the sound. They're not too detailed, not as detailed as higher series, which uses X-Art, but they're quite good actually for a small monitor. It really, really works. Alright, so I just unplugged one of the monitors, which was not hard because actually the passive one is connected only using this signal cable. And as you can see, the monitors come with this rubber base that provides adequate vibration isolation. So this actually improves some clarity in the mid-range, and of course it positions the monitor at the right angle. So now, if I place it like this, you'll see that actually the sound from the tweeter is going directly to my ear. So this is a great solution. Of course, you can also mount it using this screw here, but I would not recommend it unless you have to, because this means that you'll need to hold the monitor when you power it off. They're quite light, and also this would not provide such vibro isolation as this mount. So this is very nice, very neat solution. It looks great, and it actually aims at your ear perfectly. Okay. The rear panel of the main active monitor has 3 switches, as you can see, and this allows to adjust your D3Vs to your preferences and to the placement. So, for example, for a corner setup, you can slightly reduce the amount of bass. For any desk setup, you can limit the low mid-range frequency build-up using the switch here, and the last setting controls the amount of treble. So in untreated rooms, the sound waves bounce from various surfaces, which can make the sound seem tiring and very, very sharp. So we can reduce it going for untreated, and if your room is treated like mine, just go for treated for optimal sound propagation. So I hooked up ADAM Audio to my computer via USB, so this LED went blue, and I'm just using headphone output to connect it to my main interface so you can actually hear the sound, so I can record it. And now, if I go to my system settings, I can see that the ADAM Audio speakers are available here. And there are just 3 modes to choose from 32,000 Hz to 48,000 Hz. And when I go to Series DAW, I can't unfortunately see the Asia drivers for the speakers, but I could use the MME DirectX drivers. I can see the ADAM Audio speakers here. However, the lowest latency I could get from the speakers was about 20 milliseconds. So it's just enough to play simple lives like this one. So it will be enough for you to, change slots like this and record some automation. It should work really nice. However, it might not be enough if you're planning to play live instruments like this one. So you might actually feel a little bit of latency here. And if you go lower with the settings, you might hear crackles or some noises. So 20 milliseconds is super safe for big projects. I tested it on a PC. I've seen it. I think Nick Bate from Sonic State proved that you can actually go quite low with the latency on a Mac, just about 5 milliseconds or so, but you'll have to verify it or check it yourself. So this is how it works on a PC. So it's pretty decent. I guess it's enough for a start, just to play simple melodies or just enter a chord. You can then quantize it. So it's just enough for a start. But then eventually you'll probably need a proper audio interface in the future. So summing up, I made some notes, pros and cons. I really think that this is an example of great engineering. They really deliver what they promise, a decent, balanced sound. So if you're doing some voiceovers or podcasts, you can really trust the monitors. If it sounds good on the monitors, it will probably sound good anywhere. And of course, the same applies to mixing. They've got quite nice low extensions with this, thanks to those passive radiators. However, if you're used to working on bigger monitors with huge low end, you'll probably be disappointed because these are still small monitors, so just remember that. And also be prepared to use them on your desk, because they're actually designed to be used on the desk. I initially thought I could place them on my speakers, which are, I guess, 2 meters further away, even though you cannot see that in this camera, unfortunately, but there's a big gap here. I could not do that. First, because the cable is only 2 meters long, and secondly, because it wouldn't make much sense. Because of the low power output, they can only output around 98 decibels of SPL, so they will play loud, but only if you place them close to your ears. And secondly, because they are small speakers and they do not have this big low extension, they play impressively down to around 50 Hz, but still they will not play huge in a room. What else? The stands. These are really excellent because within such setup they provide the perfect angle. So you really hear very precisely what's going on in the stereo field. The depth of field is not that great as on bigger monitors, but that's kind of obvious. These are really small monitors, but other than that, they are really trustworthy. The volume control is easy. The USB, it works. There are no ASIO drivers. I couldn't find them, but you can actually use it with decent latency. Maybe not for crazy finger drumming, but for just playing with loops and recording automation, it's just enough. The headphone output is also decent, and I actually think that, even though ADAM Audio didn't ask me to do that, but I really think that H200s could be a great fit for the monitors, because these are very, powerful headphones in the low end. They've got great bass extension. I think the bass is even a bit accentuated, so it might be a bit tiring if you're listening to some more acoustic music or some rock music, but for electronic music, the low end is great, and you can really use them for checking your low end. Also, frequency-wise, they're pretty balanced, so good headphones. But you can also use some Sennheisers or Beyerdynamics, whatever you like. I would just not use expensive headphones, because I could really feel the difference in some clarity and spaciousness when using some high-end headphone amps. So decent headphone amp, but it's just not high-end headphone output. And other than that, I really regret they don't have Bluetooth. I couldn't connect my iPhone directly to the speakers. I think I would need some kind of adapter. I guess some iPhones and some other phones with the USB-C, they will work, and I've seen them on the internet, but with my iPhone 11 Pro it just didn't work. But I could actually play music from my iPhone, connecting it via Bluetooth with my computer, so it's possible. And I guess I'm looking to my notes, and I guess it's it. Yeah. So very nice monitors. And if you have any questions, just drop them below. I can imagine making music just on the speakers and with a pair of headphones and having a lot of fun. So I'm using it for serious double checking of my mixes and for some film sound post-production. So they just fit great in my environment. So thanks, and if you have any questions, just drop them below. I will try to answer them looking from time to time. Okay, see you, bye.